This experiment was approved, and it broke people. In 1971, a psychology experiment was approved by one of America's most respected universities. It was supposed to study human behavior. Volunteers signed up. Cameras were installed. Everything looked controlled. But within days, ordinary students began turning cruel. Prisoners broke down. Guards lost control. And the most disturbing part: the people in charge watched, and let it continue. The Stanford Prison Experiment was designed by psychologist Zimbardo. 24 healthy students were selected. Half were randomly assigned as guards. The other half became prisoners. A fake prison was built in a university basement. The goals sounded simple: observe how people behave under authority. But no one expected how fast roles would replace morality. Power was no longer theoretical. It was personal. On the first day, everything seemed normal. Guards were polite. Prisoners followed rules. But authority changes people quietly. Guards began enforcing discipline. Uniforms created distance. Sunglasses hid eyes. Names were replaced with numbers. Slowly, empathy disappeared. And control took its place. By day 2, the experiment began to unravel. Guards started humiliating prisoners. Sleep deprivation became punishment. Prisoners were forced to do degrading tasks. Some cried. Some screamed. One prisoner suffered a mental breakdown. He begged to leave. But he was told he couldn't. Not because of science, but because everyone forgot this wasn't a real prison. The most shocking part wasn't the cruelty. It was the silence. Researchers observed everything. Cameras recorded every moment. But no one intervened. Zimbardo himself began acting as prison superintendent. He stopped being a scientist. He became part of the system. Ethics were replaced by ego. And suffering was labeled as data. Eventually, an outsider saw what insiders couldn't. A psychologist visiting the prison was horrified. She questioned the abuse. She challenged the experiment. Only then did the team realize how far they had gone. The experiment was shut down after 6 days. It was supposed to last 2 weeks. The damage, however, was permanent. Participants later described trauma. Some struggled for years. The experiment sparked global outrage. New ethical guidelines were introduced. But the question remained. Why did it take suffering to stop it? Why wasn't it stopped earlier? And how easily did intelligent people abandon morality? The Stanford Prison Experiment is now taught in textbooks. Not as a success, but as a warning. A warning about power. A warning about authority. And a warning about what happens when ethics are ignored. Was this science? Or was it abuse?